Hey everybody, it's Doug McCarron. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I had a unsettling event in my life, and I had to go handle it. Not a lot of detail, I realized. Something I thought was true apparently isn't. Anyway, um, last time I talked about imagination, and I spent a lot of time, probably way too much of my time, watching YouTube videos. But I also noticed it in people in general. There's this constant, well, when people are opinionating about others, there's this, those people believe this, and I'm going to point out what's wrong with them and how they're stupid, and I'm the one who knows what's going on. I think I hear that a lot, and people talking to each other too. And it seems to be fairly universal. I know I have it. That's why finding out when something I thought was true wasn't true was kind of a startling event. But for instance, like Ben Shapiro will go on about the left has this narrative about the right that they believe this and they repeat this narrative and that's what they believe and they live in this little bubble. Except that's his narrative about the left. And then you go over to the Young Turks and those Republicans and those corporate Democrats, they all have this belief and you can't trust them. I'm the one, we're the ones you can trust. And of course, this is a typical marketing thing. You always, at least in television, so and so's lying to you, but we're going to tell you the truth. So watch us. And by the way, buy this product. So it's really weird, but it's. I studied history and theology, and just it's long before TV and radio. You know, the whole Protestants' assertion that Catholics worship their Pope like he's a god, and Catholics don't do that. Um, the thing I really notice is, back to this imagination thing, we all kind of live in this, from what I can tell, as I sit here and proceed to start having a narrative. Um, but it seems like we all live in this kind of internal bubble that talks to itself and says what is true. But we always think it's like out there. It's like that's why people on the right go those liberal woke blah blah blahs, and then on the left, whatever the left is, those fascist anti-American blah 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 blahs believe this, and then we sit here and yap away about how they're horrible and bad and we got to stop them. I mean, we got both the Republicans and the Democrats each calling each other fascists that want to destroy the country and overthrow the government. I seriously doubt that's true. I seriously doubt it. Many people even think that way. I think most people just want to go to work and raise their kids and live in peace with their neighbors. But there are some people who are driven to having these attitudes where, I have to point out what's wrong with you and I'm the one who knows what's going on. You have in the Bible, there's these arguments between what may be Paul and might be Peter. It's hard to tell with the writings in the Bible that who wrote them. Apparently, a lot of them are dated like 100, 150 years, 200 years after the events, and who knows who put whose name on what. There's apparently several letters of Paul that have linguistic consistency, so they think that's right. But you have the whole whoever that is, the mission to the Gentiles. Well, Gentiles don't want to have their foreskins cut off and eat like Jewish people, and people from the Jewish community are insisting you have to follow the law and do that in order to be saved. And they argue back and forth. That went on. Well, it probably still goes on. If you go on YouTube, you'll hear Is it Jesus' Christianity, or is it Paul's Christianity, or is it the Gnostics' Christianity, or is it the state's Christianity? It's just, I don't agree with what I perceive the church is teaching, so I'm going to declare they're wrong, and I'm going to tell you what the truth is. It's interesting. I should probably look it up. I have a book on what various terms mean, but like dogma, as I recall, you think dogma, this is the truth, you have to follow it. Apparently it means what appears to be true, or something like that. It's what we think is true. But our imagination gets all caught up in I'm the one who sees what's going on. It's like a very selfish, self-centered reflecting from its point of view. I mean, this, we all know this, but it's just striking me as odd because the world, the earth, all the planets, the plants and the animals and the humans and the sky and the trees and the water doesn't seem to operate like any one of us is particularly the center of anything. Yet, for some reason, we all kind of seem to look at the world from our point of view. And that strikes me as interesting. I'm not saying it's unusual, it just strikes me as interesting. Why would that be? But I do know that I'll sit in my imagination and sit here and decry somebody else and make all sorts of assumptions about how they are and make them wrong. And then, that's how I treat them. When they may have nothing to do with it. One of my big background stories is that I was unloved and unwanted, and that I wasn't worth anything, and that nobody wanted me around. And I was talking to a couple friends of mine from back in the 70s, and they were saying, "No, you were warm and open and friendly, and we loved having you around. You were a little guarded, and we could tell you'd been abused a bit emotionally, but you were a lot of fun to have around." Which doesn't coincide with nobody wants to talk to me, nobody likes me. I was kind of it was a nice shock, but it was like not my understanding of the universe. So it kind of raises, what other thoughts do I have about what's going on? What other narrative do I have about these people that I decry in my brain? People I've never met or talked to. I'm sitting here watching, I'm from the United States, I'm sitting here watching the political discussions, and it's a lot of, just people making up names about each other and then making them bad and wrong. And I don't get the impression we're actually talking about what's best for the country. There are some people who are apparently going to, like if Trump doesn't win, they're going to rise up in armed revolt. Of course, they should remember that a lot of other people have the Second Amendment and have guns, and that could get kind of nasty. But it's just how, especially like television and like YouTube, you get this visual lost inside your own little bubble, and it reflects itself. They get all riled up. I think I remember this video. What was his name? Chuck Norris, a karate guy that, if Barack Obama gets elected, it'll introduce 10,000 years of darkness. Never happened. If Nixon came in charge back in the 60s, it was going to be a fascist government. He was going to overthrow all of our civil rights. Didn't happen. I heard Trump was supposed to do that the first time. He apparently wasn't able to pull it off, but now he's going to do it. Biden is like by executive fiat arranging people's lives. I haven't noticed any of it. I go to work and buy food and pay my rent. But I get really upset in this imagination. It's like very weird. It's like, it's not just like we're in a dream. It's like we're in a dream within a dream within a dream almost. Well, that's where I am today. Okay, till next time. I hope that made sense. Bye.